all your school rugby, all in one place. This is Next Gen 15.
Alright guys, welcome to Next Gen 15. So today's video we are going to be looking at a SA school squad prediction. So basically what occurred was that I was not going to do this video. I just thought it would raise too much controversy, and it was just difficult because there was not enough rugby played. So initially I wasn't going to do it, but I got quite a bit of contact from some followers. And then interestingly enough, someone that claimed to be an insider of Saru, I've looked individual up, they do seem to have quite an extensive rugby background. They gave me some insider tips, let's say, about some of the players that would be selected. So basically what I did was I reached out to a couple of people, asked their opinions, and then I took what this individual said as well, and we put it together to create a SA School Squad prediction. So if you are new to the channel, please don't forget to click that subscribe button as well as bell notification, and as soon as new videos are released, you'll be the first to know. So let's get into the squad prediction. The makeup of the squad is going to be exactly the same as every year in terms of combinations. So we're just going to go on that format. So we're going to start off with the outside backs, and starting off, obviously Kevin Gertze has to be there. We've spoken a lot about him. Fantastic individual player. Fantastic performance in the Pole Derby last year. I think this would have been a breakout year for him. He moved to the Sharks on a massive contract just to show how valued he is within the rugby industry. So definitely would have been there. Next up was Nabo Sekoe. Shouldn't be surprised to anybody that's seen him play. Had a breakout season last year. First couple of games this year was absolutely fantastic as well. So no doubt Nabo would have been there. Next up we have Larry Nkonki from Westville. Larry's not someone that we've discussed a lot on this channel, but the insider, let's call him, was adamant that he would be involved in the team. And looking at his footage and seeing his gameplay, I mean, there's no reason to suggest otherwise. Larry's a very, very talented player, can make something happen out of nothing, and would certainly deserve his place in an SA school squad. And then finally, Franco Knutzer has to be there. Just the vision, the ability to open up play. He's got all the weapons needed in the game, and signed for the Bulls for the next year. Fantastic talent. I mean, would have been there no matter what, in my opinion. Then we move on to the centres. First up, Ethan James from Paul Jim has to be there. One of the form centres last year. Very unlucky not to receive higher honours, but this year, 100% certainty he would have gone on to play at SA schools, in my opinion. Most of the people I spoke to agreed as well. Next up, again, another player that would have to be there, Mambo Mkhize from Westville. Absolutely lethal centre, offloading way beyond his years. I think he'll go very far in the game, and I think that he's going to have a meteoric rise in terms of his rugby career. Very, very talented player. Then finally, Josh Jonas. There were other players that were considered, but it was just felt that Josh, I mean, he can basically come on and be a battering ram. The guy's super strong. I mean, you wouldn't say he's a small player. I mean, he's well built, but he's not the biggest centre out there. But in terms of his line speed and his ability to just tear open opposition defences, no doubt he should have been there. Perhaps a player that was unlucky to miss out would be someone like Brandon Wilkie from Spramsby, who can also cover the fly-off position. But Josh is a very, very talented player. And I think the whole thing with the squad, guys, you must remember, is that there are extremely talented players in this year's group. So it's very hard to choose them. I mean, it's about inches, not yards. Then we go into the halfbacks. Nico Steyn has to be there. I mean, what a wonderful player he is. Moving on to the Lions next year. Huge talent. We've spoken about him a hell of a lot. If you've only just joined the channel, just go back and look at his footage. This guy's unbelievable. Would have been there 100%. Another player that would have been there, Rowan Clutie from Gasfontein. The inside source. Definitely is a massive fan of this player. I think he's a fantastic player as well. I think if he was at virtually any other school in the country last year, he would have been a first-team regular. But I mean, he was behind Ulrich Claessens last year. And Gasfontein are developing an unbelievable rugby program, guys. They're definitely going to be one of the powerhouse schools in the next couple of years. It's an early rugby program. It's not like they've had a a top 5 rugby program for the last 30 years. But I think they could even develop into a top 3 program. I think they can go on to challenge the likes of Grey and the Pole Schools, Paulus, or the big boys, Affies and them. So definitely keep a lookout for Gasfontein and Rowan Klutte. He's just one of many players on that assembly line that are coming through. Rowan's a fantastic player. I definitely agree that he would have likely been part of the SA school squad. Fly-off has to be Sasha. A very, very special player. Spoken about him a lot as well. Definitely one of the best fly-offs in the country, if not the best fly-off in the country. And would have been part of a very special Bishops team. I mean, that backline would have been on fire. Him, Mikey Ford, Ollie Jones, Suleiman Hartzenberg, beautiful backline. And Sasha would have definitely got them going. Then partnering him, there was a lot of options out there, but we finally settled on Silalo Benge from Queens. Very, very talented player. Spoken about him a lot as well. He'll be going off to the Lions next year. Love his style of play, and I think he'll be tutored very well by Alton Janchis over there. He's going to be a big name player if he continues on his current path. He's just got so much natural ability, and it's going to be fantastic to see him next year. Moving on to the loose forwards, South Africa's just got a habit of producing unbelievable loose forward combinations, doesn't it? So this was very tough. Okay, obviously Sizonke Vumazonke has to be there. Likely he would have been SA Schools captain in the opinion of the panel. I think that is pretty much unanimous. One person voted for, basically insisted it would be someone else, but most of the panel agreed it would have to be Sizonke Vumazonke. One of the first names on the list. Fantastic player, fantastic character, humble, down to earth, moving to the Lions next year. Going to be an amazing journey for him if he carries on. He's such a talented player and a good kid, so definitely keeping an eye out on him for the future. Then next up, Josh van Vreelens. Again, another one that we've spoken about a heck of a lot. Now, Josh was part of the SA Schools A outfit last year, so no doubt he would have made the step up to SA Schools. He's also a leader. Ball carrying ability is fantastic, strong on the breakdown, great player, so definitely would have been there. Renzo du Plessis has to be there. What a breakout year for him last year. No one can ever forget that try from behind his own try line. Ben Forster, I'm really liking what they're doing with their rugby program. I think they're developing something very nice over there. And I think they will start challenging some of the other northern schools. There's some tough guys up in Sanina. They're tough men over there. And they pass that on to their kids. And Renzo's another very special player and a great character as well. So he's going to be moving to the Sharks next year. Big future awaits him. We've spoken about him positionally, but I don't think that discussion is worth it in this video. I think he would have definitely been an SA Schools flank this year. Then Ronald Mouton from Monument, very, very special player as well. I mean, the guy's work rate is unreal. There are very few players in the country that work as hard as he does. Monument would have had a very special team this year, and he would have been one of the key players in that team. His game against Paul Boys was unbelievable. Man of the match, despite being on the losing team. Very special player. And he'll be going to the Bulls, and the Bulls are going to have a lethal loose forward combination next year, so it'll be interesting to see. Then last up, Sia Ngiza from Maritzburg College. This was about the insider. He insisted this 100% would have been the case. Couldn't speak highly enough of Sia. Now, I have seen Sia play some footage. I think he is a very, very talented player. I would have had him as an SA Schools A player, without doubt. In terms of SA Schools, I had my reservations, to be honest with you, and I'm not saying that he isn't a great player. You must remember, we probably produce the best loose forwards in the world in South Africa. So it was a bit of a back and forth, but the insider insisted this guy would have been part of the SA Schools squad. And, based on talent alone, I can't disagree. I think there are other fantastic loose forwards out there, but, Sia's up there, and he would definitely add something to the team. He's a very, very strong ball carrier, very, very mobile, gets around the field very well. So he's a solid player, and he's going to go to the Sharks next year. I think he'll develop very nicely there. It's maybe he's a player that I've slept on a bit, but I think the thing with a player like Sia, from what I understand, speaking to some people that know about his character and all the rest of it, is that he sort of relishes being underrated and not being in the limelight. He prefers it that way. He prefers to do his work. So unfortunately for him, we put him in the limelight now, and that was obviously the insider's insistence. And yeah, I don't disagree. So Sian Giza, part of the SA School Squad this year. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Then we go to the locks. First up, Henkos. He would have to be there, guys. What a tower of strength this guy is. No nonsense. Proper South African lock. Proper South African lock. Loves the physical side of the game. Plays with his heart on his sleeve. Would have been an invaluable asset for Glenwood this year. Very exciting player. Moving to the Lions next year. I think him and Nico Stain are going to go on to, to play a lot of games together for the Lions and eventually the Springboks maybe. Then Reinhard Ludwig, he has to be there. Fantastic player. I mean, if I think about the Affies team this year, I really slept on them. I really did sleep on them. They got such a talented crew this year. You got Carl Liebenberg there at the wing, the De Toys at the centres, Johan Muller, fantastic scrum off. Willie Porgiet is a player very unlucky not to be mentioned on this list in the loose forwards department. Someone that I definitely would have played SAA, I assume. But Reinhard was definitely one of the leaders in that Affies team. Such a great player, such a great character. He's going to go on to have a fantastic career, mark my words. The next up, Connor Evans, #1 prospect for PAX, the PAX 100 this year, has to be on the list. Amazing talent. Words don't justify how talented this kid is, and he's going to have a massive future in the game. Spoken about him a lot, so I don't need to say much more. Then final player, Marco de Wit. It's tough because there are a lot of fantastic locks out there, but one of the things the insider said was that Marco can cover loose forward and the lock position, and I tend to agree with that. Marco's a solid player. I think he's going to have a very, very strong career. I know at the Bulls next year they plan on playing him as a loose forward. I like him as a lock, but as a loose forward, he can provide that extra line-out option as well. He's a great player, and no doubt he is definitely going to go far in the game. So those are your 4 locks, and then finally we move on to our front row. So first up, Heiko Pullman from Monument. The tight forward department is so competitive. The tight head prop department is so competitive in South Africa this year. I can't remember a year where there was so much quality in the tight head prop department. But Heiko's strength and his mobility give him an edge over most of his opposition. So I mean, it's touch and go between him and his opposition players, but you'd have to think he'd be part of the mix. If not SA Schools, at least SA Schools, a very special player. Then Seb Lombard, strong as an Oxus kid. I mean, he was the only player this year from Paul Boy's first team that has survived of last year's team. Last year's team was packed full of grade 12s, and then you had Seb Lombard as a grade 11, and he just decimated scrums for fun. This guy is very, very intelligent as well in rugby terms. He's the full package. We've spoken about him a lot. Definitely would have been part of the SA Schools, likely a starter. I mean, maybe bring a Heiko on, in the last 15, 20 minutes or so in the game and let him brutalize the opposition. Or it could be the other way around, who knows. But Seb is a fantastic player, no doubt would have deserved his place. Then hooker, Popa Vokazela. I mean, what a fantastic story about this guy's rugby journey, been part of the Connect Academy, and he's very mobile. I mean, he played a couple of games last year for Rondebosch as a loose forward, as I recall, and this guy just plays with ferocity. I love his style of playing, and this is sort of a player that I couldn't say no to in terms of putting him on the SA Schools squad. There were a few other options there. I mean, you got some fantastic talent out there, but Bupa is a very, very special player, and I think he would have torn some opposition apart this year. I think there's no doubt about that. Then we move on to our final type front rows. Obviously, hooker Keegan Blackenberg from Bishops, very, very talented player. Would have been part of a very successful Bishops team. Then Porus Nazar Nasir, very, very special player. Strong as an ox, would have been a starter at Lucet Prob likely. Someone that I did sleep on at the beginning of this year, but when I watched that Western Province Schools Day, I was just shocked at this guy's ability. He's an absolute tank, and he's going to be moving to the Bulls, and I think he's going to have a massive impact in the future. And then last but not least, Phil Masango from Wynberg Boys, another solid prop. Now, those of you guys that know your school rugby properly are probably going to be thinking, what is another tight head doing on this field? Now, from what I've been told, is that in terms of an SA Schools team, either Phil or Sebastian would have likely have basically played loosehead as well. So the whole thing was that it was just that these guys are too good to leave out. And I mean, you still got Tilman Nivode, you still got Aubrey Omranica, Jan-Hendrik Bessinger. You've got so many guys out there that are absolute tanks. Oscar Mayataza from Hudson Park. So many players out there that are tanks. So you must understand our future is very good in the prop department, guys. Very, very good. And I think Phil could have definitely have played as a loosehead as well. He's got the power, and he's got the talent. He has played there a couple of times in his school career, and he's just someone that's too good to leave out. So that's it, guys. That's the predicted SA School squad. Like I said, a lot of the material came from an insider who wished to remain anonymous, and then I spoke to 3 or 4 regular followers who I know their rugby and got their thoughts, and this is what we put together. So what do you guys think? Obviously, there's some fantastic players that are left out, no doubt about that, but that would be the case anyway in terms of an SA School selection. So pop your comments down below. Let me know what you think in terms of the selection. And, as always, have a fantastic week further. Don't forget to click that subscribe button and bell notification. Don't forget that. That's very important. Cheers. Bye.